Today I'm going to be sharing with you some research we've been doing in the lab centered around this question of, is sex more satisfying when it is spontaneous versus planned? So there's this idea in Western culture that spontaneous sex is most satisfying, and yet there's so many times in relationships where spontaneity can be a challenge, like with the birth of a new child or when health and mobility issues arise. And people like myself, therapists and counselors, often suggest planning as a strategy to help couples overcome sexual issues. And in study 1, we looked at an online survey of 303 individuals in romantic relationships, and study 2, we looked at 102 couples that completed daily diary reports of their experiences of sex and of their romantic relationship. Generally, people did endorse this spontaneous sex ideal. And in study 1, we found that endorsing the spontaneous sex ideal was associated with higher sexual satisfaction. But when we asked people about their most recent sexual experience, we found that there was no link between perceiving sex as spontaneous and sexual satisfaction, regardless of people's beliefs. So even for those who more strongly believe that spontaneous sex is satisfying. In study 1, we also found that people who perceived their last sexual encounter as planned reported lower sexual satisfaction. But for those who more strongly believed that planned sex could be satisfying, there were no links between having planned sex and sexual satisfaction. In study 2, we did not find any links about how people felt about having spontaneous or planned sex and their sexual satisfaction. They were just happy to have sex, it seemed. So the take-home message is that many people in Western culture believe that sex that happens more spontaneously is more enjoyable. However, across our studies, we found that believing in spontaneous sex and actually having spontaneous sex was not strongly linked to sexual satisfaction. And these beliefs may impact how people cope during times in which it is difficult to be spontaneous. So I hope that you take this away, think about it a little bit, chew on it a little bit, and let us know if you have any questions.